Dear participants, I welcome all of you in this lecture on programming in Python, where I will discuss a new data type, that is tuple. So, as of now, we had discussed creating a list variable, accessing list slicing. There is a one operation, list slicing. Then we discussed operations and functions of list, and then methods of list. So, we have already seen these concept related to list in last lecture. In this current lecture, I will discuss how to create tuple variable, how to access tuple slicing, operation and functions of tuple, methods of tuple. So, I actually I made content similar to list as well. So, what I did when I am discussing data types, so I created similar content for all data types, so that it could be in synchronized mode. Now, as far as tuple is concerned, so a tuple is a sequence of Python objects separated by comma. So, if I am saying that let's say T is a tuple, so how to create tuple? Like 1, 2, 3. So, this one is a tuple actually. So, these are separated by commas. A tuple is similar to list in terms of indexing, nested objects and repetition, but it is immutable unlike lists which are mutable. So, what does it mean? We have already seen list is actually mutable. It means you can update the individual members of the list. But as in case of a tuple, we cannot modify individual element of the tuple, right? But there is some concept here. If the data member is list, suppose in case of tuple, your data member is list, then in that case it could be updated, right? Let's say there is a tuple. You are having a tuple and 1, 2, 3 and then 4, 5. So, you can see here data member is actually a list. So, list could be updated, the individual elements could be updated in this case, right? But non-list members here 4 or 5 could not be updated. So, a tuple is similar in list to a list in terms of indexing. So, I can access individual element of tuple using index like T0. I can access the individual elements T1, then T2 and so on. Nested, I can also include nested object, like in this case I have included nested objects. And repetition, you can repeat number of elements, like in this case I can again add 2 which is being repeated here, right? But it is immutable unlike lists which are mutable. So, you cannot update, I cannot write T0 is equal to 44. So, I cannot update this element, individual element. But if it is having list as a member, then we can update. So, that is the point here. So, the tuple is created using in this way you can create the tuple. Similarly, if you can also create the tuple in this form, or you can create an empty tuple in this way, just using this bracket, and then you can create tuple using the tuple function as well. Here you can see this is a nested tuple. It means individual member is itself is a tuple. So, and one thing more, tuple could also contain heterogeneous type of data, whether it is a string, float, integer. So, any type of data it can contain. Advantages of tuple over list. So, it is important. If you have a data that does not change, implementing it as a tuple will guarantee that it remains write protected. So, what does it mean? If you are having suppose let's say you are having a data that is not going to change. So, you could implement it in the form of tuple because the individual element cannot be updated, right? So, tuple contains immutable elements and can be used for as a key for a dictionary. When I will be discussing dictionary, then this point would be more clear. So dictionary is having two objects. One is key and the another is value. So key cannot be updated in case of dictionary, but value can be updated. So that's why it is saying here tuple can be used for the keys in case of dictionary. So with list it is not possible because list is mutable. So how to access elements? Very similar to list. We could access using positive index or negative index. So negative index would be used to access the element from the last, right? And the positive index will be used from left to right, to access data from left to right, right? So like in this case, if you want to access this element, so what you will write? So tuple tup minus 1. So you can access this element. If you want to access nested tuple, like in this case, if you want to access this element, so you have to write 1 and then this one is 0, 1, 2, 3 and then 0. So you can access in this way, right? So to access values in tuple, use the square bracket with the index of the element. So in this way you can access the element. Similar to list, we can also create a tuple using the range function. It is very simple, right? So like in this case, what does it mean? It would create a tuple having 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? Similarly, you can create a list in this case. Let's say this is the case where my first element would be -1, then -3, since step value is -2, -3, -5, -7, -9, and that's it. We cannot consider -11 because this is the upper value, right? So in this way, you can create tuple using the range function. Similarly, you could apply several operations and functions as far as tuple is concerned. So this is very similar to list that we have already seen. So you can apply slicing operator to take certain slice of the data. Then membership as well. You can concatenate 2 or more lists, and you can repeat. You can concatenate 2 or more tuples, and you can also repeat your tuple in multiple times depending on the operand value. Similarly, you can apply length, index, and so on. So this is the way you can take slice of the data. Like in this case, if you want to take slice of this one, right? So what should I write? I should write tuple 1, and then this one is 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 and then 5, right? So in this way, you can access the element. So similarly, you can use 2 colon. If you want to use 2 colon, actually says that you are interested in step value as well. Let's say I'm writing tuple 1 colon 6 and then 2. So it means first I will access A, then step value is 2, so C and then E, right? That's it. So in this way you can access the element using in this way you can slice the tuple. You can concatenate the tuple as well. If I will write A plus B, then both would be concatenated. So this would give you 1, 2, 3 and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in this way this would be concatenated. Then you can also use repetition A, then repetition operator, then 4. So 4 times this would be repeated, right? So membership operator, you can also use membership operator that we have seen in list as well, and that will be used in a for loop. You can apply length function as well. So length actually gives you the length of the list. Similarly, if you can apply a min function, maximum function. So min with single argument will return the minimum value of that tuple. If you are having min B, so you will get the minimum value of the B, and in this case it would return 3. There are certain tuple methods as well, like count, index, you can apply. So if you want to count a particular element in a tuple, let's say how many times 3 is coming in the tuple. So you can apply this count method, and index would give you the element that is present at ith index. So it depends on how you are passing the value in the index as an argument. Tuple is as we know, strings are immutable. What does it mean? Again, so you cannot modify the individual character of the string, right? So that is immutable. While list is mutable, it means you can modify the individual element of the list. But Python tuples have a surprising trait, right? They are immutable, but the values in mutable object may be changed, right? So point to be noted here. But the values in the mutable object may be changed. Say it means if you are having a list in your as a member of the tuple, then this can be changed. This may happen when a tuple holds a reference to any mutable object such as list, like in this case. So you can modify these value, but you cannot modify the individual element. So if you will try to modify the individual element, in this case, let's say A00. If you want to modify in place of A, you want to modify it with B. So it would give you an error, right? Similarly, like in this case, you can append, if you want to append the value, so you can append values in this list only. You cannot append the value in tuple. So it is not allowed here. It means you cannot append value in the tuple, but if tuple is having list as a member, then this can be appended. And in this case, 5 would be appended to this list. So this is the concept of immutability and mutability in case of tuple. Accessing elements of tuples is very similar to list. Again, you can apply two different type of for loops, either using individual elements like in this case, or you can access using the index value, right? So both way are allowed in case of tuple. Deleting a value, so you can use del function, so to delete the whole tuple, like in this case, so whole the tuple would be deleted. Clone tuple, so if you want to clone a tuple, so again we are having a function. So cloning, it means again there are two different type of cloning, shallow cloning and deep cloning. So if you want to take a deep copy, then you need to use deep copy function, right? So deep copy, what it would contain? So if you are using deep copy, so a separate copy of the tuple would be created and the original copy would be reserved. And whatever you are making change in newly created copy of tuple, so that change would not be reflected in your main tuple, right? The original tuple. So that is the concept of deep copy, similar to list. Now there is a question: write a Python program to find the repeated items of a tuple, right? Suppose there are certain items which are repeated in tuple. So how can you find this item? Write a Python program to find the index of an item in a tuple, to find the index of an item. So for that we are having index function, right? Write a Python program to remove an empty tuples from a list of tuples. So if you are having you are having a list of tuples, so tuple could also be the part of list, right? So list members could be tuple itself, right? And vice versa is also true. List could be part of tuple. I mean, list could be a data member of tuple. Similarly, tuple could be a data member of list as well. Let me show you how we can solve this very first question. So I am switching to ideally. Then there I would discuss how can we solve this particular problem where you are having repeated values in your tuple, right? Let me switch to ideally. So let's say I am opening a new file here, and your list is having tuple. Your tuple is having 3, 4, then 6, 3, and then 8, 3, right? And one more, let's say 4. 4. So, in this way you actually create the tuple, right. Now, I would try to check whether the individual element is being repeated in the tuple or not. So, for that first I would read the individual item for I in A, then if, now there is a function in tuple I just discussed, that is a dot count. So, count actually give you the number of times an element is present in the list, right. Like in this case, I would check how many times I. So, at very first instance 3 would come. So, how many times I is coming? If I is coming more than 1, right, greater than 1, it means it is being repeated, right. If it coming, then it means it is being repeated. So, I would write here print I has been repeated. So, I would just display this one. Let me first save this particular Python file, and then yes. So, and then let me run this one. So, you can see here 3 has been repeated and 4 has been repeated, and then again it is coming 3 has been repeated, because 3 has come 3 times in this tuple, and 4 has come 2 times in this tuple. And if you want to restrict the further display of these messages, then we can modify certain, and we can modify the logic. So, since why 3 has been coming in 3 times, 3 is coming, like 3 has been repeated, then 3 has been repeated, 3 has been repeated. So, what is actually happening here? When 3 is coming, so it is trying to find the count of 3, which is 3 in this case. So, 3 has been repeated. So, it has displayed this message. When it reaches to, when I reaches to this 3, then again it is trying to find the count. Again it would get the 3 value, right. When again I is coming to this 3 position, then again it would try to find the count of 3, which is 3 in this case. So, I would write here one add, let me make a list here. I am trying to create a list, and if so one I would write a logic here, L dot count count I equal to 0, right. When L dot count equal to 0 and L dot append I. So, what it will do? It will let me run this one first. So, I am running this one. You can see now this is the result. It has restricted the further display of the same message. So, what I did here, I actually try to find out, suppose 3 has come at very first time. So, in this case, count L dot count 3 is actually 0 in this case, right, because this list is empty. So, now I appended 3 in here in this list, right. Now, when again the 3 would come in a second time, so since L dot count, it means 3, it would try to search the 3, right, which is actually part of this list now. Now, it is having single value, so it won't return 0. So, second time 3 would not be displayed. So, 3 has like this message would not be displayed, because if would be false in that case. Similarly, for next 3 and next repeated item. So, how it would, suppose I am having 4, 4, 4 and then 3, 3, 3 so many times. So, it would give me just 2 message only. 3 has been repeated and 4 has been repeated. So, in this way you can solve this particular problem. So, let me come to the slide now. So, I have seen you have seen how to solve problem related to tuple, right? And we discussed the very first problem, and the rest next two problems you are supposed to solve. Now to summarize tuple, so we have seen how to create tuple variables, right, and how to access the tuple. Then we had seen tuple slicing, how to slice certain part of the tuple. Then we discussed operation and functions of tuple and methods of tuple, such as index and then count, that we use in last problem. So thank you so much. I will discuss next topic in next lecture. Thank you so much.